Hey guys,
Hello.
how are you guys doing? Rich, you want to get us started?
All right, let's get started here. So first of all, we know probably most of you we're MAPS coaches, Rich Rector, Jessica Fox. I think collectively, what's important is that we've recruited over 5,000 real estate agents, between the two of us, and have been, not only in the field doing it. Jessica spent 17 years as a team leader. I'm also currently an OP of two offices, and we've been MAPS coaches for quite some time. I've personally been done over 55,000 coaching sessions. So at this
Well, he
point,
dealt with me, guys. So
yeah,
you
so
you coached
old
me.
school. So we've been around a while, and we got a lot to share. So recruiting's our jam. So let's just kind of jump into it. So what we're going to be talking about today is the seeker and the technical side of how you can really recruit with Heatseeker. Some of you may have been or may are attending the Tuesday calls. Jessica has been real involved with that. And we've got obviously panels at family reunion as well. So let's just kind of dive into the practicality of what we want to show you today and how you can use this to recruit.
Right. And before we jump into the PowerPoint, one thing I want to show you guys is what's happening around you as team leaders. The market's helped us out big time in getting agents to be movable. They're moving like crazy right now. And if you're not feeling it, one of the things you can do is go check out an agent movement report in Broker Metrics. So I'm going to show you one from today that I just pulled. This is my local market in Clearwater, Florida. I just picked on EXP today. So I just pulled all the EXP offices, and this is an agent movement report under proficiency metrics. We'll download a little hack book for those of you that may not know how to do this. But if you pull the agent movement report, what's interesting, if we look at EXP as a brokerage in my little market, you will see that they have had at the bottom, you can see 694 agents join them and 1,090 agents leave them in the last year. So that's right in Pinellas County. I've got a few realtors around me. So what's interesting about that, you guys, is first of all, EXP appears to be winning in our market because they're very good at posting, etc. And they had 694 people join them, but they also had 1,090 leave them. So what's most interesting here is there was 1,784 recruiting appointments that happened, at least, to have that kind of movement both into their brokerage and out of their brokerage. And that's just one brokerage in one county. So, if you're not feeling it, if you're not feeling movement, I would double dog dare you to kind of check your mindset at the door, because right now is the greatest opportunity of movement all around you. And we have great reports like that in some of our markets to be able to see it. And yet that's what the Heatseeker is all about, right, Rich?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's jump back into that. And thanks for sharing that. And do you guys know how to, if not, put it in the chat, let us know how to access those reports where you can look at that. These are some of the hacks that we go through in Rockstar Recruiting, where we take you through broker metrics, hacks, and different things like that. Do you know how to access that so that you can use that to your advantage?
If you
If
guys
not,
could just put in the chat, let's just get a feel for who knows how to do it, who doesn't. And of course, we want to help you make sure that you know how to access that.
yeah. But it's a great way for you to tell your story, the truth, to your own agents, as well as, when you're sitting in front of a recruit. And, in that example, we're sitting in front of an EXP recruit that says, oh, yeah, we're, recruiting all kinds of people and this and that. And you can just show them that report and say, you got more people that are bailing out than joining. I don't know if anybody, from your company is actually showing you the actual numbers, but here's what they are, right? So anyhow,
For those of you that are no, we're going to follow up with you and we're going to send you a little hack book that shows screenshots on how to do this. This is for your own mindset as much as, showing at an ALC meeting or with your top agents to say, hey, help me out, get appointments. And also to shut the back door on recruiting around you. And yet Heatseeker is like that on steroids. So think of that as, so if you're not diving into Heatseeker, you're missing such an opportunity, you guys, right now. In fact, If I only had time to make 10 calls a day, I would, if it wasn't a direct referral, it would be Heatseeker. And we're having a lot of wins. And so I'm going to challenge you, if you're struggling with your mindset around it, having call reluctance or anything, we really want to help you through that, because it's kind of like an expired listing list. It's kind of like an expired agent list. So,
Yeah.
dive into it.
And it's important that you do put your arms around this and adopt this, because what you're going to see next week at Family Reunion is that they have an agent version of this that's going to identify people that are looking to move, like sell their home for our agents and command and so forth. So in their database. So this is going to be a real powerful tool. So it's here to stay, and you just need to embrace it. Sure, there's going to be issues. Sure, there's going to be challenges. We got to work through it, because at the end of the day, like she said, it's like an expired list. These are the most likely people based on the algorithms that are, most likely to move. And if you just start a relationship with them, over time, everybody's going to be different with the timing. Over time, you're going to have a pretty good result from this list. So does everybody know how to access Heatseeker? Right? This is where, the recruit management, right? Here's what it looks like in command. You guys all know this, right? Of where to access it. Okay. So we're going to go through that. So then you go to Smart View, right? Jessica, can you see this? Are everybody seeing the screen?
Yep. This is great. Yep. And we'll make sure that you got these PowerPoints if you need to reference this, but literally we're just showing you the progression of command where you can get this report. You're going to get this report late day Monday, early Tuesday, late day Tuesday, somewhere in that time frame. And I literally would change my calendar to have a focus on Heatseeker when when your report kind of comes in, and that'll be consistent.
So then under Smart View, then the drop down there, you see it's where it says Heatseeker, right? So you click on that. Now you're going into the recruit details. Jessica, you wanna take it from there?
Yeah, so this is all you need to know, you guys, to make the call. And what we're going to jump into next is we've got some examples to show you of what's working. So number one, here's the number one thing we want to make sure you walk away from. And I actually spent some time, Jen Lewis made some time for me to kind of reiterate what she thinks is most important that you guys hear. And this is number one. This is not about just dumping names on a smart plan or just texting people. This is really about making the call. And then for people that aren't open to it, just getting them into a nurture cadence. So many of these are yeses that if you actually put them on a smart plan and start spamming them, you might really turn them off. And so you don't want to miss the chance to give them a call, because it's kind of like a listing appointment. If I was calling expired listings, I can't like if Rich is an expired listing, I can't list his house over the phone. I just need the appointment. And so just keep that same mindset when you're using this, because those of us that are just spamming people are kind of turning people off. Whereas if you use a more direct approach, which we're going to role play for you in a minute, you get a lot of yeses and you get the chance to start some relationships. And again, we're following, of course, all the TCPA rules. So number one, if you go into your Google Drive as a team leader, there is a Heatseeker best practices Google Drive. Just search it. You probably have it in there. It's on the team leader Facebook page as well. And I'm going to tell you that there's 5 very drastically different approaches documented by these wonderful team leaders that were nice enough to share. Nick was recently featured on the national call. Beth, you coach. And we shared a few others, but these are very different approaches. And I'm going to challenge you to use the approach that you're willing to do. Okay.
Yes.
There's no right or wrong, is there, Rich?
Nope, no right or wrong. In fact, I work with Nick as well, and it's a totally different approach than Beth, who they're part of the same ownership group, different offices, and she's a lot more direct. So yeah, check those out for sure.
So, Rich, you coach Beth. Beth has been on a lot of calls lately. I just featured her on Worldwide because she's doing so great in so many ways. And yet this is her approach. So do you want to kind of share this with us?
Sure. So basically, this is her dialogue. She's more direct in making offers, and hey, I'm in a unique position to make a substantial offer for you. Do you have a time to meet? This might not be for you, but let's sit down and talk through it. Through a different business model. Would you have time to sit down with me? Do you have a plan B? The most successful real estate agents have a plan B, right? So these are the different conversations and approaches she'll have with somebody, or a text, a conversation. Is there anything in your business that's missing right now? And that office has incredible training, education. They're big as well on Team Ridge. They've been on a lot of the national calls, and they'll be on panels at family reunions. So they have a lot of great training, education. They do a lot of wealth building. And again, so dangling the carrot of, we have things that can help. Do you mind if I continue to check in with you and follow up? So her approach is a little bit more direct around, hey, I've got an offer for you, right? When can we meet? And she has a lot of success. She averages, and I know she was just on one of your international call that you did this week. I mean, honestly, she's pulling in 2 to 4, cappers a month, and she's
Yep.
always a double-digit recruiter, black belt, and she started out as an assistant team leader like less than 2 years ago. So she's, but she does it by just consistently doing the work and making the calls and making the contacts and getting into relationship with people.
Well, and that's her personality. Okay.
Yeah.
So, because Lori Borgman, you make a great comment. It feels weird to me, to say you'd like to make an offer and you don't even know this person or have ever had a conversation. And yet, here's the thing to remember, you guys. They're on the Heatseeker list. This is not the happy-go-lucky, life is great, I'm at the top of my agent, count of all the office with sales list. This is someone that's not having a good time in life right now, probably because they're indicating that things aren't good. So you'll even get people saying, oh, I'm having the best year ever, and they're not. You guys run into that all the time. So it's not about making someone bad or wrong. It's just direct gets direct, and Beth's direct. Whereas Megan, who's one of my clients, is not as direct. And yet she's winning with these 4 asks. So there's a video. I actually, let me quick put this in the chat for any one of you that want to listen to it later. This is me, 6-minute interview with Megan of her actually role playing it right after she got off some calls. She made 9 dials and set 6 appointments. Now her personality is a little different than Beth. And so hers is a little bit more of an indirect, but she has these questions lined up and she's expecting no, 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 yes. And yet she's getting a lot of yeses earlier on than that, but she's positioned herself for 4 questions. So if I'm calling Rich, I'm going to say, hey, this is Jessica from KW Clearwater. I'm reaching out today to see if you're open to having a conversation about opportunity. And he's going to say yes or no. He's going to have a positive or negative response. And then, okay, does it at least make sense to meet? I would love to be your plan B if you were to ever make a change. Again, he's going to be positive or a negative. And then, would it at least make sense for you to review my offer? What's the risk? And then her 4th ask is, if they're still negative, would you be offended if we stay in touch? Now, because she's going in with the mindset of asking 4 questions and expecting 3 no's, when she's getting a yes, she's feeling like on top of the world. That's another approach, you guys, but it works because rarely does anyone not say, yeah, let's stay in touch. And then she puts them right into nurture phase. So back to Lori, what you said, Lori, this approach maybe would work better for you because it's not direct, it's an indirect. And again, because they're on this list, they probably are shopping around already if they're going to
Yeah.
stay in the biz, right?
And one point I wanted to make also is when we talk about, or when the team leaders are talking about making offers, I know that some of you are thinking like, well, yeah, but some of these people on the Heatseeker list are R1s. So, but you can still make an offer. So it's not necessarily an offer like you're going to, cap manage them or something like that, like you would maybe do with a capper. It could be an offer, to coach them, to train them, to put them to provide some education, training, support, or mentor. It could be whatever it is, and it's still an offer for them to work with you, to work with the market center, to plug into the things that you have, to be able to use the resources that you have. And sure, you can even throw them a bone and give them a few months of free office. fees or something like that if you wanted to. So it doesn't have to be a financial offer. If you're talking to an R1, it could be an offer just to have a productivity coach or something, right?
Yep.
So I just wanted to
You
get that point.
Well, you know what I think sometimes we lose sight of is the fact that we're in these huge offices and 80% of the realtors all around us are in an office with one or two other agents total. Right? I mean, we drown in stuff. We've got training, we've got technology, we got this. It's like we got like Christmas every day. And yet, they don't. And so, if I'm one of these typical agents on this list, I don't have a lot around me to grab onto. And so you guys, the win here is just getting permission to stay in touch and put an olive branch out there, offer some training, invite them, include them, put them on a nurture cadence. And if they're going to make a move, if you've made some sort of rapport with them, they're probably going to check you out. It's that simple. And we see the statistics are most of them are going to make a move. If someone's really struggling, they're not going to stay where they're at. And that's true for your own roster. People don't necessarily say, man, I need to plug in and go to Bold. They judge their environment and move on or look for another opportunity or, shiny object. So truth is you guys had that same challenge. So, this isn't like every day you're going to go set 6 appointments, but what if you could get 3 or 4 conversations started every day? How cool would that be?
Sure.
Now, this is another approach. I liked this one a lot. In fact, I kind of stole and morphed the script into my own, and I had a few wins myself with the script I wrote. But how open-minded would you be? That's hard to say no to, right? Like, hey, Rich, are you open-minded? It's a great opening, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. So how open-minded would you be and again, to an offer to join our organization, the Market Center, to receiving a substantial offer, to hearing what we're all about, to receiving a playbook, to attending an event, right? So there's so many approaches that you can use when you're reaching out to the Heatseeker people. It could be just, hey, we haven't had the opportunity to meet. I wanted to reach out to you and personally invite you to such and such. The post family reunion you're going to be able to use for weeks. Hey, we haven't had the opportunity to meet. I just got back from Las Vegas where I was with 15,000 of the top agents in the industry. I've got some incredible strategies and tactics from all the breakout sessions and panels. I'd love to share with you some of these strategies to add to what you're doing to create momentum as you move into the second quarter. Do you have 20, 30 minutes we could get together? It could be something, like that. So it doesn't have to be making an offer. It could be these other things too.
Well, Mandy and Megan both comment in the chat some really cool things that they're offering to those lower producers. And that you guys just don't lose perspective. If I'm at a smaller brokerage, which again is most of the folks on these lists aren't at huge brokerages with hundreds of agents, there's maybe no one to ever talk to. You guys have so much that you may lose perspective there sometimes. So just remember, it doesn't have to be a VIP pass to come to family reunion. It could be just even a playbook. So, the one that I was winning with is that I'm talent scouting, and this kind of worked in with some of my Indeed follow up that I was doing, and there were some people on Heatseeker that also were in Indeed as clicks. So this is how this script morphed is, hey, Rich, I'm talent scouting for a few opportunities in real estate. I'm curious, how open-minded would you be to a confidential conversation about opportunity? I've got opportunities in leadership, training, and sales. What's next for you?
Excellent. So I would say, well, gosh, I haven't really thought about it, but leadership is something that has been in the back of my mind.
Awesome. Well, when could we get together in the next day or so for about 30 minutes just to talk a little deeper about what that could look like?
Well, I really am not interested in making a move. Is this a recruiting call?
Well, if I have the right opportunity, you may want to make a move. So isn't it worth a conversation?
Sure.
Okay, let's set it up.
Okay. And if I said no, would you be offended if I stay in touch? Right.
Right. I'm going to go right to that, or I'm be like, well, let me ask you this because I'm talent scouting. Who do you know that's looking for opportunity in leadership, training, or just in sales that could use some support?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask for a referral, and then say, hey, and do you mind if I stay in touch? But here's the point. These conversations aren't hard to have, you guys. You've got a Heatseeker list. These are people that are going to be most responsive to this. And you owe it to yourself if you've gotten stuck here in just doing it. Go find another team leader buddy to go on Zoom and play around with this and compare notes and practice together or just make the calls. And the point is, you'll find that you get into momentum quickly. You
Yeah.
will.
And then immediately after, send them a thank you email, an invitation to an upcoming event, something like that, right? VIP pass.
Judith has a question. Judith, do you want to pop on?
Yeah, I'm just curious, when you offer leadership, like what are you offering? What does that look like?
Sure. So Judith, we are always looking for talent in all of our market centers in a couple different capacities. We have a process called career visioning. And there's this neat assessment we can do to kind of figure out what your sweet spot might be in leadership. Would that be something that would interest you?
Oh, I love that. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Yes.
Something like that. You just kind of say, you know what, we're looking for talent all the
Because
time.
we're not
And
in
then-
ours, but like other market centers are, which is true.
Well, and you never know who you have in front of you. They could be the next director of sales for a team that you're helping grow. It could be your next mega agent. You never know. And yet you got to remember, other brokerages don't talk about opportunity with their agents. That's not
They don't.
normal,
They
right?
don't.
So,
No.
so if I'm a growth-minded person, you just having that conversation with me is going to light it up, right?
Right, right.
It
Okay,
could, it
perfect.
could
Thank you
be
so much.
ALC, it could be a committee. ALCs have
yes,
committees. It could
yes.
be anything in
Oh.
leadership, right?
Oh my God,
Director of
thank
a
you. Yes.
community. I mean, seriously, right?
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep, great question.
So objections. I just moved, not interested in being recruited. I'm not interested in making a change. I'm busy, right? I'm loyal.
Have you ever heard any of these objections, Rich?
No, this is basically all of them. Everything else is a spin-off of one of these. So these are all of them. We just need to learn the answers.
I would say that these are not where you push for the appointment. I would back away and get permission to stay in touch because this person's not in a great spot. For whatever reason, they're on this list. It could be their business is down. It could show that the brokerage is having a lot of loss. There's a lot of factors that can put someone on this list. And yet the list is very accurate. It's nearly 90% of the folks on this list make some sort of move. So it's like a really good list. And yet you're going to get people saying like, oh, I'm having the best year of my life. I'm like, okay, great. Do you mind if we stay in touch? I'd love to be a resource to you. And then you start inviting and then you get into that nurture cadence. They will lean towards you if they're being real. And some people they just won't be real. That's okay. But go for the relationship, go for the agreement to follow up, more so than 5 objection handlings to get no's. I mean, this is more of a rapport.
Yeah, and these objections again are universal, regardless of Heatseeker. I mean, this is what we always get pretty much, and we do a whole call on this in Rockstar Recruiting, where the objections are unanswered questions in the mind of the candidate. So what have you done up until then, up until this? Like if these are appointment setting objections, but they're also closing objections. So at the point that somebody says, hey, and you've done the presentation and hey, I'm not ready to move, right? How do you handle that? Have you done the needs analysis properly? Is there a gap? Have you presented value where they've quantified how many more deals they can add to their business and how much money that is? So, handling objections is, again, an unanswered question in their mind. So it depends on where you're at in the process. It's not a time for you to banter with them. And so these are some of the things that we go through a deep dive in psychologically to help you be in a better position when it comes to handling objections.
Well, and we have so much to give. Now we have the mega camp playbook, and soon I'm thinking, Rich, maybe we'll have a family reunion playbook.
I think so.
I think maybe that'll be our March gift. And you have so much to give, you guys. It's insanity what you have now. And you have to remember, no one has these things outside of our realm, outside of our doors. When I was at other brokerages, we didn't get playbooks and things like that. So use them to build relationships and create validity with people. People appreciate gifts. So, you know, after a conversation, I would say, hey, thanks a lot for taking my call. Even if it didn't go anywhere, I'd say, hey, Rich, thanks for taking my call. I appreciate it. And I always would love to be seen as valuable to you. I'd always want to be your plan B if ever you do make a change. And so check your inbox. I'm going to put something special in there for you that I think you'll really like as an idea for your business. I think it's something you'd be really great at. And I would, if you're open to it, I'd love to keep this conversation going. Are you good with that?
Absolutely.
You know, I'm going to end it on a high note wherever it went. And, you know, these people need bucket fills. They're on the Heatseeker list. So just keep that in mind. You have so much to offer. And, you know, direct is better if you're a direct person. A more indirect approach is better if you're a more indirect person. So go check out the Google file. Go look and see what sends you, what you like, what resonates with you, because Megan's awesome, Beth's awesome. All these people are awesome that are having success, but the one common denominator is they're doing it. And from time to time, they may slip out of gear and need to be back into Heatseeker mode. Keep focused on this. And if you haven't dove in yet, dive in. This is a no-brainer for any team leader out there that needs R2 appointments.
Yep. And backed by popular demand, Rockstar Recruiting is coming up in March. We had a tremendous group that went through last year. In fact, you just right before this call, Jessica, I got off a call with an OP that was singing the praises of the program with a team leader that was basically on her way out. Okay,
Yeah, it's a
she's gonna be-
confidence booster. If you need to like get beyond the needs analysis to like, okay, how do you tie in the models and command and all that to get them to actually move faster? And how do you articulate that? How do you get your confidence? It's Rockstar. We spend 12 weeks with Rich and I, and we work on getting the systems of your recruiting in place, but also your confidence. We'd love to have you join us. It's super affordable, and we'd like to have fun with it too.
Yep. And then lastly, we'll leave you with this. On Sunday night, family reunion, if you're going to be there, you'll check your inbox. It's going out today. If you'd like to get together, mingle, network with other leaders at the Rhythm and Riffs lounge at the Mandalay Bay at 5:30 to 7, whatever leaders want to show up, you know, network, mingle, and all those kind of things. We're going to be doing that, have some fun on Sunday night and answer any questions you have or just meet other great leaders.
Yeah,
So
we can't wait to
in
see you
Las
guys.
Vegas. Yes.
Thank you for being here. I hope you got something great, but here's what we're going to challenge you. Just go for it. Just go for it because you can help a lot of people that are on the Heatseeker.
Yep. And hopefully you can join us March 14th for Rockstar Recruiting. Thanks for being here, everybody. We'll see you. Bye-bye.
I see what you're saying.